The most dangerous poverty is not the lack of money. The most dangerous poverty is when you work hard, but your psyche does everything to ensure you never become rich. And the worst part is, you don't even notice how you're holding yourself back. Working longer hours won't make you rich if your mind is quietly sabotaging your money. There are 3 invisible habits almost everyone has that quietly drain your income. Thinking there's never enough, never launching because it isn't perfect, and lowering your price to stay light. Picture someone stuffing cash under a mattress because they're scared to invest. That's scarcity thinking. Picture an entrepreneur who rewrites their sales page for 6 months and never hits publish. That's perfectionism paralysis. Picture the freelancer who always says first they'll do it for less, so the client won't be mad. That's people-pleasing profit loss. Stick around and you'll spot which one is leaking your money and get one simple, practical fix for each. No psychology textbooks, just real-life moves you can try today, and a small laugh at how ridiculous we all can be. Destruction of the usual explanation. Most people prefer tidy explanations because they feel safe. A neat story. The market is against me. First, don't have the right degree, or there's no time. Lets the mind stop looking. Those convenient answers are often wrong or incomplete, and when they're left unchallenged, they become mental traps that steer behavior in unhelpful directions. For example, someone who repeats, first don't make money because my city is poor, may never look at pricing, customer service, or the online market that could expand their reach. Short sentence for effect. When the usual explanation goes unexamined, it shuts down experimentation. People stop testing alternatives and assume the first plausible reason must be true. A designer blaming too much competition might never try a clearer niche, better packaging, or direct outreach to clients. A teacher blaming bureaucracy might never explore tutoring, online courses, or partnerships. These are practical shifts, not mystical secrets. Spending energy defending a story uses up the same energy that could be used to test a new idea. It's like arguing with your GPS while missing a shortcut. Start by listing the familiar explanations you tell yourself. Then ask what evidence would make each one false. Try simple, low-cost tests. If the usual claim is first can't raise my prices because clients will leave, pick 1 month and raise prices for 1 or 2 new clients with clear added value. See what happens. If the excuse is first don't have time, track your activities for a week and look for 30, 60-minute pockets you can repurpose. Test small, collect data, and treat outcomes as feedback rather than judgments. A single experiment can topple a long-held excuse. Invite people who don't share your assumptions to poke holes in your story. Ask a customer, a peer in another field, or a blunt friend to explain why your explanation might be wrong. Keep a contradictions file where you save feedback that doesn't fit your current narrative. Also, build habit checkpoints. Monthly reviews where you challenge one big assumption, and quarterly experiments to disprove the most comfortable story. Curiosity replaces defensiveness. In short, destroy the lazy explanation. Not to be mean to yourself, but to free up time and ideas for things that actually grow wealth. Plus, it's more fun than arguing with yourself and cheaper than therapy. Promise of insight. Many people expect one bright idea to change everything, and that expectation quietly stops them from taking the small, messy steps that actually build wealth. Waiting for a perfect insight can feel productive. Reading threads, watching videos, collecting notebooks of ideas, but often becomes a form of procrastination. Real results usually come from repeated action, not a single revelation. Short bursts of work, feedback, and adjustment add up in ways a solitary aha moment rarely does. This expectation becomes a psychological block because it lets fear hide in a shiny package. Perfectionism whispers that you must wait until the plan is flawless. Imposter feelings say you don't deserve success unless the idea is original. Those are excuses dressed as strategy. Consider a graphic designer who spends months polishing a portfolio for the right audience and never sends a single outreach email. Or the friend who reads about the next big trend and keeps tweaking a product prototype without ever showing it to a customer. Both are waiting on insight, and both are losing time and opportunity. A little ridiculous, like waiting for a fortune cookie to write your business plan, but common. Practical fixes are simple and practical. Treat insight as a testable guess rather than a holy grail. Build tiny experiments. A one-page website, a weekend pop-up, a short email campaign. Those cheap tests give real feedback much faster than endless planning. For example, instead of waiting for a market-defining idea, a baker could try selling a new pastry at a farmer's market for a weekend. If people buy, refine the recipe and scale. If not, tweak the price or presentation and try again. Small, visible wins shrink the fear and teach you faster than dreaming ever will. Shift the habit from hunting for brilliance to collecting evidence. Use simple metrics: number of conversations, offers sent, prototypes launched. Surround the search with constraints, deadlines, budgets, and public commitments to force decisions and action. Talk to customers early. Fail quickly and cheaply. Over time, those micro decisions compound into real advantages. And for what it's worth, the best insights often arrive in the middle of doing something, not while waiting for inspiration on a couch. Keep moving, keep testing, and laugh a little when your grand revelation finally shows up, because you'll already be ready to use it. Fear of big money. Many people feel a strange tightness when money starts to grow in their life. And that reaction comes from plain, practical places, changing habits, new responsibilities, and awkward conversations with friends and family. Someone who gets a big raise can suddenly worry about being judged or about whether they'll make a bad choice with the extra cash. These are everyday reactions, not flaws. They show up as stomach knots, sleepless nights, or a sudden urge to clean out the garage at 2 a.m. This unease shows itself in lots of normal ways. A freelancer undercharges even after building a strong portfolio. A colleague turns down a promotion because of the extra stress, excuse, but secretly fears the social fallout. Another person quietly funnels extra income into a rainy day jar and refuses to touch investments, as if money is a hot potato. There's also the comic side. Someone wins a small windfall and spends it on novelty mugs for everyone they know. Real patterns, real stories. The reason is simple. More money changes things. It changes plans, schedules, relationships, and expectations. People worry about making mistakes with larger sums or about losing the sense of who they are. Guilt is common. They feel uncomfortable keeping more when others have less. And comfort zones are powerful. The brain prefers predictable problems over new, unknown responsibilities. So instead of enjoying options, the person avoids them. Practical fixes are available and they're easy to try. Start with tiny experiments. Open a separate account and move a small amount in for a month to see how you feel. Create simple rules for yourself. For example, automatically save 50% of any windfall, spend 30% on something that improves life, and use 20% to plan for taxes and advice. Talk with one trusted friend or a professional advisor before making big moves, and rehearse conversations you fear, like telling family you'll give support on a set schedule instead of impulsively signing every request. And get the paperwork handled early. A good accountant or lawyer can turn anxiety into a checklist. Slow exposure works well. Practice with controlled wins so your feelings adjust as your balance grows. Keep a small test fund for learning how different choices feel. If your first reaction is to run, pause and ask what you're protecting: reputation, safety, comfort. Naming the fear makes it manageable. With steady, small steps, the strange tightness loosens. You can still be yourself and have more money. You just need a few practical habits and a bit of rehearsal. And no, opening a savings account won't turn you into a spreadsheet monster overnight. Viewer microcrisis. Many people hit a tiny mental stop sign while watching a sales video, webinar, or product review. That little stall is what people call a viewer microcrisis. A quick cascade of doubts, questions, and what-ifs that freezes action. It often looks like pausing a video to read comments, opening 10 tabs to compare, or replaying the same testimonial 3 times. In plain terms, it's indecision that arrives in seconds but costs hours, momentum, and sometimes money. This split-second panic does more than annoy. It kills momentum. When you're trying to buy a course, subscribe to a tool, or invest in a business idea, the micro-crisis invites second-guessing about value, credibility, and future regret. For example, an aspiring freelancer watches an expert's workshop, then spends the next week hunting for alternative instructors instead of enrolling and practicing what was taught. The result is a lot of learning about choices and none of the actual doing. Our brains are wired to avoid loss. So the micro-crisis amps up fear of making the wrong call and stalls decisions that could lead to progress. You can beat it with simple, practical rules. First, set a clear decision checklist before you press play. What price range is acceptable? Who is a credible source for you? And what outcome would justify the purchase? If a webinar offers a toolkit and that toolkit meets your checklist, buy or sign up within a preset time window. Short timers work wonders. Second, limit options. Open fewer tabs. Unsubscribe from endless review channels that only fuel doubt. Third, try low-cost tests. Buy the cheapest introductory product, test it for a week, and then decide on the upgrade. This reduces the fear of irreversible mistakes and gives you actual data to judge by. Another useful tactic is to create a trusted filter. Keep a short list of 1 or 2 people or platforms whose recommendations you generally act on. When a recommendation comes from them, move faster. Use accountability. Tell a friend your decision deadline and ask them to check in. Batch your content consumption too. Watch similar reviews back to back and then take a break to decide, rather than hopping between topics and confusing your priorities. Small experiments help as well. Purchase something inexpensive, learn from it, and adjust your checklist for the next purchase. It's like dating the product before proposing marriage. A little humor helps. Treat the micro-crisis like a nagging app notification. Polite, but not in charge of your life. Loyalty to the poor. People often choose to stay financially tied to the same circle, even when better opportunities appear, because belonging matters more than cash in the moment. That urge to keep things equal, to split bills, refuse price hikes, or share every deal, can quietly eat at your ability to accumulate wealth. For many, the drive to avoid making friends or family feel worse leads to declining promotions, keeping low prices for long-term clients who are friends, or making frequent unpaid loans. It's a common pattern and a clear roadblock to growing your money. Guilt and loyalty show up in simple ways. A barista who dreams of opening a second shop keeps working extra shifts to help a friend who's struggling instead of investing their savings. A parent ties up their extra income supporting an adult sibling, then wonders why they can't save for a house. These choices come from compassion, yes, but also from fear. Fear of being judged, of losing relationships, of appearing selfish. Humor helps. You can be kind without becoming the neighborhood ATM, and being rich doesn't automatically make you a villain. The practical costs are real and easy to spot. Slow price increases mean your income stays flat while your time and effort rise. Handing out discounts to friends and loyal customers prevents a business from hiring staff or buying equipment. Constantly bailing someone out can drain emergency savings and stop investments in retirement or education. A freelance graphic designer who keeps undercharging friends ends up working evenings and losing sleep, which nobody envies. Short-term loyalty often equals long-term limitation. There are simple, low-drama fixes that keep both relationships and growth intact. Start by setting clear boundaries. Decide what you can afford to help with each month and stick to it. Offer value in other ways when money isn't available. Teach a skill, help with a resume, or give a few hours of work instead of cash. Use a tiered approach for clients and friends, a friend rate, a launch rate, and a business rate, and explain that the lowest tier is limited. That way you can say yes sometimes without saying yes to everything forever. You'll be surprised how many people respect honesty. Practice short scripts so conversations don't turn awkward. Try first want to support you and first also need to save for 10. First can help with why 2 times a month. Or first can't lend money right now, but first can help you make a budget. Small, clear moves protect both your relationships and your finances. Over time, Shifting loyalty from keeping everyone on the same rung to helping others climb give a win-win payoff. You build security and you model a better path for the people you care about. Emotional trigger. Certain sights, words, or situations can immediately send your brain into a loop that makes you avoid making more money. These instant reactions are automatic emotional responses rooted in earlier life experiences, and they often push you away from opportunities without any deliberate thought. You might feel a tight chest, a rush to withdraw, or an urge to prove yourself by doing everything for free. Those sensations are clues, not failures. People show these reactions in predictable ways. For example, someone who grew up hearing that rich people are greedy might shrink every time a promotion comes up and either say no or sabotage the chance by underperforming. A freelancer may drop their price after one polite critique, convinced they're unworthy of the higher rate. A founder who experienced a family business collapse may hoard cash and refuse to invest in growth, even when the numbers make sense. Short story, your inner toddler throws a tantrum when you open an investment app. It's normal if annoying. You can spot the trigger by paying attention to the body and the story your mind starts telling. Notice the physical signs, sweaty palms, racing thoughts, or that sudden desire to scroll social media. Then listen to the narrative. First they'll lose everything, or they'll think first I'm arrogant. Naming the feeling and the story separates the emotional flash from your decision making. Say it aloud if you must. First feel panic and first am thinking first am not allowed to ask for more does wonders. Small, practical moves neutralize the power of these reactions. Try tiny experiments. Increase your price by a small amount for one client. Set an automatic transfer to savings, or send one outreach email you'd normally avoid. Practice a simple pause, 5 deep breaths, before replying to money-related triggers. Use scripts to handle shame or criticism so your emotions don't rewrite your words. Get a friend or coach to hold you accountable. It's easier to face discomfort with someone else cheering you on. Longer-term work means changing the story behind the trigger. Gather evidence against the fearful script. List times when risk paid off, or when saying no led to a better outcome. Rehearse new beliefs in small wins, and reward yourself when you act despite the fear. Gradual exposure, doing the uncomfortable thing a little more each time, reduces the shock. Also, build guardrails. Automatic savings, preset pricing, and clear boundaries keep old reactions from steering your finances. Remember that these emotional reactions don't mean you're broken. They mean you're human and carrying habits from earlier moments. With steady, practical steps and a bit of experimentation, those instant blocks soften. Change is messy, but it's possible. Illusion of busyness. A packed calendar, non-stop email chains, and a buzzing phone are not the same as making progress toward wealth. Many people measure their worth by how busy they look rather than by what they actually produce, and that confusion wastes time and money. The real problem is mistaking visible activity for valuable output. Answering messages, attending meetings that could have been an email, and tweaking low-impact tasks feel urgent, but usually don't move the needle on income. Think of work in 2 buckets: tasks that create real value and tasks that only look like work. Sales calls, product launches, negotiating deals, those are value creators. Administrative chores, endless status updates, and reorganizing folders are look-busy activities. A freelance designer might spend a week perfecting a portfolio layout while missing opportunities to pitch clients. A manager can fill up their day with meetings and still leave the quarter without new contracts. It happens all the time because busyness provides a comfortable illusion of progress. Practical moves are simple and surprisingly effective. Start each day by picking 1 or 2 actions that directly produce income or growth. Make a sales outreach, finish a product feature, close a negotiation. Block focus time on your calendar for those actions and protect it like a meeting with a demanding celebrity. Batch similar low-value tasks together so they don't fragment your attention. When you track results instead of hours, the difference becomes obvious. 5 concentrated hours on high-impact tasks beat 10 scattered hours spent looking occupied. Say no more often. Delegate ruthlessly. Automate what repeats. For example, templates for common emails free up dozens of minutes. A virtual assistant can handle scheduling and social posts while you talk to clients. Resist the temptations of constant communication. Turning off notifications or having specific no meeting windows is not rude. It's strategic. Humor helps. Be the person who refuses to wear busyness like a badge and instead collects actual results. Your calendar will thank you, and so will your bank account. Main reversal. A surprisingly common pattern shows up when people say they want more money, but their choices quietly head in the opposite direction. You might promise yourself a savings target and then withdraw from temptation the moment you're close. Where you finally land a paying client and suddenly find a reason to delay the invoice. Those moments are not accidents. They're a kind of psychological flip where your actions reverse the goal you claim to want. Think of it like an internal coach who's secretly rooting for the other team. One example, a freelancer who publicly talks about earning a living wage, but consistently undercharges to avoid the awkwardness of negotiating. Another example, someone who turns down a promotion because deep down they worry success will change relationships or add pressure. Small everyday choices reveal the pattern too. You say you want to save, then you treat yourself after a small win and the save plan dissolves. These concrete behaviors are easier to spot than the invisible belief behind them. Spotting the reversal starts with noticing the tiny betrayals. Keep a simple log for 2 weeks of decisions that affect your money. Pricing calls, bill paying, impulse purchases, saying yes to unpaid work. Short entries. You'll start seeing repeat moves, like a movie that keeps ending with the same twist. Once identified, test the opposite behavior in a low-stakes way. If you're an undercharger, raise your price on a single product and observe client reactions. If you avoid promotions, accept a small added responsibility and see how it feels. Small experiments teach faster than pep talks. Change follows when you rewrite the story you tell yourself. Replace self-talk like "first can't handle success" with practical reminders. "First can learn to manage new pressures," or "first will get support if things shift." Role play helps. Say a new narrative out loud to a friend or record it. Create tiny rituals that reward sticking with the goal. A celebratory walk after hitting a savings milestone, for instance. And laugh at the absurdity when you catch yourself sabotaging progress. Humor loosens the grip of fear. It's like training a stubborn pet. Consistent small corrections and rewards usually win the day. Harsh conclusion. Working harder does not automatically mean getting richer when hidden mental habits quietly undo every extra hour you put in. Many people pour time and sweat into jobs or side hustles, but never change the basics. Spending more than they save, refusing to ask for fair pay, and avoiding systems that let income grow without constant effort. An example, a nurse picking up extra shifts to cover bills, then draining those paychecks on impulse buys and never building an emergency buffer or investing for the future. It's common, and it's fixable, but only if you face the truth. People cling to comfortable stories that sound noble, but are actually sabotaging. Saying, "First will work harder next year" is easy. Saying, "First deserve to charge more," or "First will let someone else handle day-to-day tasks so the business can expand," is harder. A freelancer who always accepts the lowest offer because they fear losing the client ends up busier, poorer, and exhausted. A small business owner who insists on doing every task themselves can't scale, so growth stalls even with long hours. These are not technical problems. They're mindset problems dressed in busy clothes. The harsh reality is that effort without strategy and without changing how you think about money often leads to burnout, not wealth. People who become financially secure usually combine work with smarter habits. They set clear pricing, they automate saving or investing, and they delegate low-value tasks. For instance, a coach who stopped trading time for dollars by creating a group program kept earning while reducing hours. It took a mindset shift from "first must do everything" to "how can first create value that scales?" No magic, just a tougher choice to trade short-term comfort for long-term structure. So here's the blunt takeaway. If you hold on to limiting beliefs, fear of charging what you're worth, clinging to control or believing money is inherently bad. You will likely work hard and stay poor. Change starts with small, practical moves. Track where money goes, practice asking for what you deserve, and build one system that frees your time. It's uncomfortable to admit, but the only way out of the grind is to fix the interior wiring that keeps you stuck. Laugh about it, if you must, but don't underestimate how decisive that inner change can be. Quick recap. These 3 hidden blocks are probably holding you back. Low self-worth, you think you don't deserve more money, so you don't ask for a raise. Fear of success or failure. You avoid big moves because what if you win or what if you mess up? Both feel scary. In a scarcity mindset, you hoard, underprice, or always bargain like there's only one loaf of bread left. Think about the time you priced your service too low, even though friends told you it was great. That's one of them in action. If any of this rings a bell, you're not alone. First VE tripped over these too, and every millionaire First VE studied had to face at least one. Try this tonight. Write down a money thought that pops up first, then ask, is that true 100% of? It's a tiny step that breaks the loop. If this helped, please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which obstacle you found most relatable. Read those first. Share this with a friend who needs a boost. In the next video, we'll explore the topic money comes by itself. See you there. Your future self will thank you, and maybe even buy you coffee.